Hello, my name is Ahmad Azim Rizwan bin Haswadi. Today I will be present my part, which is introduction. Libraries are very important in a university. They help students get knowledge, learning materials, and academic reference. At University Malaysia Sarawak or UNIMAS, the library is the one of the most used place by students. Okay, students go to the library to borrow book, do assignment, and prepare for tests and exam. Because many students use the library every day, a good system is need to manage books and borrowing properly. The UNIMAS library borrowing and category distribution system help organize book and control the borrowing process. This system make it easy for students to find books and borrow them fairly. Without this system, students may have problems such as not finding book or popular book seen borrowed too quickly. In the UNIMAS library, books are divided into different categories such as science, engineering, social science, art, and general study. Each category has a limited number of books. Students can borrow books from these categories, but they must follow rules like the maximum number of books allowed. This system also helps librarians track borrowed books and check availability. If too many students borrow books from one category, the system helps control it. This way, books can be shared fairly and all students can use the library well.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Haziq Danish bin Fairuz Zaman. My metric number is 113250. Today I want to talk about flowchart. Firstly, the process starts when a student select a book category and choose a book. Secondly, the system checks whether the select book is available. Thirdly, if the book is available, the student can borrow it, but if the book is not available, the student needs to choose another book. Finally, the borrowing records is updated with a maximum 3 books allowed per student. That's all from me. Thank you.
For the product rule, the student is choosing one book from each category since there are 5 different categories and each category has 20 possible books. The choices are independent, so for the first category there are 20 choices, for the second category there are also 20 choices, and this continues for all 5 categories. Using the product rule, I multiply the number of choices for each category 20 times 20, 20 times 20, 20 times 20, so that equals to 20 times another 5 of 5 of power of 5, 20 times 5, and this gives the total number of different ways the student can borrow one book from each category. In this question, the student is returning 3 different books and the order matters, so I use permutations. Here, n equals to 3 because there are 3 books in total, and r equals to 3 because all 3 books are being arranged. Using the permutation formula and permutation r, I substitute the values and get 3 permutation 3. This means the number of ways to arrange 3 objects taken 3 at a time when n equals to r. The formula simplifies to 3 factorial, which means 3 times the number it recedes back. 3 means 3 times 2 times 1, all the way 3 all the way to 1 just goes back, which equals 6. Therefore, there are 6 possible different return orders. For the subtraction rule, we first consider all possible outcomes and then subtract the outcome that are not allowed. In this scenario, the rule is that a student can borrow at most 3 books, but we are looking at cases where a student tries to borrow more than 3 books. So first, I count the total number of ways a student could borrow books without any restrictions. Then I subtract the number of ways where the student borrows more than 3 books because those outcomes are invalid. Using the subtraction rule, valid outcome equals to valid outcome is total outcome minus invalid outcomes. This gives the number of acceptable borrowing possibilities. For the sum rule, the student is borrowing only one book, and the book can come from either the knowledge section or the fiction section. These two options are mutually exclusive because the student can only choose one book, not both. There are 200 knowledge books and 100 fictional books. So using the sum rule, I add the two possibilities. 200 plus 100 equals to 300. So that means, therefore, there are 300 ways the students can borrow one book.
I will explain about combination. For scenario 5, we are given a situation where a sport club had 15 members, and we want to select 4 members to form a relay team. First, we determine whether orders matter. In this case, the order of selection does not matter. Selecting member A, B, C, and D is the same team no matter the order. Therefore, there is a combination problem, not a permutation. Next, we define the value we needed for the formula. N is equal to 15, where the total number of members and R is equal to 4. The number of members need to be selected. Then we apply the formula. The 11 factorial in the numerator and the denominator cancel out, leaving 15 times 14 times 13 times 12 over 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. After simplifying and calculating, the result is 1,365. This means there are 1,365 different ways to select 4 members from 15. Therefore, the combination are used because the order of selection does not matter. For scenario 6, we are given 25 students who are divided into 5 different project groups. In the pigeonhole principle, the objects are the 25 students. The boxes are the 5 project groups. And then we apply the pigeonhole principle formula where n is equal to 25, which is the number of students, and k is equal to 5, which is number of groups. And then we apply the formula by 25 over 5, that is equal to 5. Since the result is already whole number, the ceiling remains 5. This shows that even if the students are distributed as evenly as possible, at least one group must contain 5 or more students. In conclusion, the pigeonhole principle guarantees that it is impossible for our group to have fewer than 5 students in this situation.
Hi, now I will be present for interpretation of result. The results show that counting ideas are important for managing the UNIMAS library. They help their library understand how students borrow books, control book use, and avoid book shortage. First, the product rules show that borrowing choice increase when students choose book from different categories. The 418 combinations show that even a few books can create many choices. This means the library system can be complicated and must be well managed. The next, the sum rule explains when students borrow only one book from certain categories. The 24 choice show that favor option make the system easier to control. This is helpful during busy time like exam. The subtraction rule show that happen when some books are not available. When books are damaged or returned late, the number drops from 14 to 13.3. This shows the system must always be updated so students do not get confused. Permutation shows that students may read the same book in different orders. The 1600 reading orders show that reading order can affect understanding. Combination focus on choosing books without caring about orders. The 120 combinations show that students have many choices. This support flexible learning and the need for many book types. The pigeonhole principle show that when 16 students borrow the book 5 category, at least one category will have 4 or more students. Means some category more popular, so the library should prepare extra book. Overall, counting ideas help the library manage book better and work more efficiently. However, real-life factors like student interest and late returns can affect the result. In conclusion, using counting rules help improve the UNIMAS library borrowing system and ensures fair access for all students. Hello, my name is Ahmad Azim Rizwan bin Haswadi. Today, I will be present my part, which is introduction. Libraries are very important in a university. They help students get knowledge, learning materials, and academic reference. At University Malaysia Sarawak or UNIMAS, the library is the one of the most used place by students. Okay, students go to the library to borrow book, do assignment, and prepare for tests and exam. Because many students use the library every day, a good system is need to manage books and borrowing properly. The UNIMAS library borrowing and category distribution system help organize book and control the borrowing process. This system make it easy for students to find books and borrow them fairly. Without this system, students may have problems such as not finding book or popular book seen borrowed too quickly. In the UNIMAS library, books are divided into different categories such as science, engineering, social science, art, and general study. Each category has a limited number of books. Students can borrow books from these categories, but they must follow rules, like the maximum number of books allowed. This system also helps librarians track borrowed books and check availability. If too many students borrow books from one category, the system helps control it. This way, books can be shared fairly and all students can use the library well.
In conclusion, the UNIMAS library borrowing system helps manage books in an organized, fair, and efficient way by using clear categories and borrowing limits. This system makes it easier for students to find books and ensure that everyone has a fair chance to borrow what they need. At the same time, mathematical counting concepts like a combination and limits help explain how books are distributed and how both borrowing rules work. Lastly, this shows that mathematical is not only something we study in class but also very useful in solving real life problems. Overall, the system makes the library easier to manage and more helpful for all students.